Discord keep doing this with my camera.
Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all already know what it's time for because gamers, gamettes, and everybody in between. Welcome to the 29th edition of the Clout.WAV podcast. Now, that being said, it's not just me. I also have backup. I also got my man running point because he does double duty. We got Subtle Fraudulence in the building. How you doing, bud, man? It's another crazy week out here on the simulation. How's yours been?
Oh, it's been a week. It's been going, but Friday will get here soon enough, and I'll be able to forget everything else about the week.
Okay, so you hope.
So I hope. I mean, hey, man, that's all we have these days. All we have is hope.
Look, if all
that's
we have
what COVID
is hope,
taught us last year, man. All we have is hope.
See, you say that, but COVID's already starting the new wave of drama, don't you know? You got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine putting people on their back because they can't stand on their feet. They got their skin peeling off their legs, and then you got some people having blood clots in their body because of the vaccine, and you got to start asking yourself the real questions. Is the vaccine doing more harm than good when it comes to Johnson & Johnson's camp? Because they are out here wilding. Like, don't get me wrong, most of them seem to be fine. Would we have loved to have seen more testing? Absolutely, but life does have to go on. And the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, well, let's just say that somebody slipped into a coma after it, which is really weird to me. But, you got to start asking yourself these questions. Like, is this really what we want here? Is this really how we want to do it? I mean, have you been vaccinated yet? Have you gotten a shot? Because I've gotten one shot. I got the Pfizer shot.
Not yet, man. Not yet. But I'm lucky that I took my time because, hey, man, not only is the Johnson & Johnson one the one where you have to take it yearly, I believe. Now it's the one where you are at risk for a lot more than a headache. So
Yeah,
Jeez.
you're not just gonna get the headache and some chills, perhaps. Nah, man, you got to worry about longevity problems that are coming your way, and none of them are fun. Blood clots,
Mm,
not fun, not fun. Let me tell you. Closing your eyes and not waking up, but you're not dead, also not fun. Not fun.
definitely not fun.
Your skin literally peeling off your body. I don't think I need to say not fun here, but I know some of you have a weird masochistic vision out there. But I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, not fun.
Well,
Not
hey man,
today,
the amount of cases
not
of these
tomorrow,
uh,
not
uh,
next week, not on Tuesday.
the amount of
Not
cases of these
fun.
situations are low, man. They could be tied to other things, and it's low enough where it's like you got 6 out of like a couple mil, then those are pretty good odds for you not to have these situations. Now the whole skin peeling thing, this is the first that I'm hearing of the like skin peeling part of things. I mainly heard of the blood clots, but there is a theory that the blood clots may be related to birth control because that is a side effect of birth control, as I learned today. So that could be a thing. There could be other factors related to this. So,
It's just weird how
you know,
so many things that you think are simple are very complex. Like a lot of people may not know this. Did you know that birth control gets more and more and more and progressively ineffective the more times you take it? Because your body gets used to it. And yeah, plan B the first time, almost 100% success rate. Second time, absolutely, you're knocking out a park. But like once you get to like 13, 14, 15, 16, especially if you're smashing about once a week, you start to have diminishing returns on investment on your investment in what we like to call plan B. And just in case
yeah.
you didn't know, I just figured like there's some things that we should point out. I know you guys may not be up to snuff on that, but if you're out here just banging it like rabbits, you should know this.
Well,
Oh,
one thing to also note, I might have said this on here before, but the Plan B apparently does not work on certain body types as well. I
no,
believe the show
now you teaching
Shrill.
me something.
Yeah, I believe the show Shrill was like made this like a plot point because let me find the name of the woman who wrote it. But the woman who wrote it, like she basically puts her own experiences into the show. Was it Lindy West? Yeah. So she made it a point in the show to inform people that if you're of a certain weight and above, Plan B is not effective for you. And that was a plot point in the show, I believe, of like the character getting pregnant because she didn't know. And a lot of people learned from it because I also didn't know anything about that. And I don't watch the show. I just know about that one plot point. So
That's rough. That truly is rough right there.
uh, crazy out here. They just won't see knowledge is power because
No, it's more
they
than
just don't
power
want us to
because
know everything, man.
it will save a life and stop you from ruining in something. But speaking of
Exactly.
lives being ruined, We Play, UFL, and ESL have partnered with a company that, let's be honest, all it can ever do is turn out bad. Like, I don't really see how there's any sort of mutual benefit that's happening here. I just feel like they're letting a parasite into their cereal. Now, you may be saying, what am I talking about? Have any of you heard of 1xBet, which is a global gambling service that allows you to gamble on sports games? And now, as you've seen, they're trying to get their baby toe into esports, which they've been trying to do a little bit every and there, now and there. And unfortunately, whether it be in Russia or whether it be in the Netherlands or in various other lawsuits and things of the nature that have taken place under that name, people are pissed at 1xBet. And rightfully so, because people have gotten their money stolen, their winnings castrated from them, just upheld. And one of my favorite scams that they run is they'll allow you to put money into the system, allow you to gamble, and if you start winning too much, all of a sudden, every time you want to withdraw a hefty amount of money out, they keep putting you through all these circularization pages that basically just keep you in a loop where there's no point of contact with a human being. And when you try to contact, there's nothing that they could do. And then if you don't lawyer up, you will never see that money ever because they have done everything to keep it under wraps. And this brings me back to the whole point of as you know, esports is still a booming industry. It's still trying to get to where it could be. It's still trying to be looked at as a traditional sense, regular sport. You know, it's really trying to pull its own weight, come through the rucker and do its own thing. But we're at a point now where watchful eyes are peering out from the dark corners of the shadow realm down those dark alleys going, but what if we wanted a piece of that? What if we wanted some of that action? What if we decide to put our dick in it? Like, you know, and 1xBet is inevitably one of those entities that has decided that this is what they want to do and this is how they want to come at it. So now we're in a situation where we've seen UFL, one of the fine organizations that's actually taken a chance on the fighting game community with their 150K Soul Calibur event, and they've matched with MK11 and Tekken 7, and, you know, really showcasing worldwide talent and, you know, really having production values that I don't think the FGC has ever seen and probably isn't soon to see post We Play, if there is a post We Play.
The heart rate monitor alone is a tool that the FGC has just changed.
And that's just such a low tier thing to have on the production team. Like, because you've seen regular just streamers just in their basement with heart rate monitors, so that's not like impressive technology. But like, you go from the simple things of having, you know, a live production team where you have graphs and statistics being able to put on the screen like a traditional sport, or one of my personal favorite touches, the almost augmented VR, digital 3D reality type stuff they got going over there, where like they have like the character's main walking out with them, so it looks like they're actually walking down the aisle with their main, and then like the graphic comes up with them, their country, their statistics, you know, their resume, how they got here. And it was just like, you know, really cool, like really dope to see, you know, like that Fox Sports, ESPN type stuff, you know, the real high budget stuff that the average TO definitely can't afford. I can't afford that shit. I'm not even gonna cap. Like, that's not like you come to one of my tournaments, like you gonna get a fine product, you're going to get an efficient product, but I ain't gonna have like augmented reality Goro being like, that's right, you will not be able to defeat me, Shao Kahn. That's not, I'm not doing that. I don't have the facilities for that, big man, unfortunately. But maybe one day the dream will come true and I'll be able to bring on those type of gimmicks and creative things to you, but we're not there yet. But as I was saying, with 1xBet, they have a whole laundry list, they have a whole rap sheet of things that have really put them in a dark light. And I don't want to necessarily say they'll leave a blemish on any entity or organization that they merge with, but you got to remember, this is a corporation, 1xBet, that is mainly associated with piracy websites. You know, stolen content, stolen media, whether it be movies, video games, or in some cases the dark web. I hate to use the phrase dark web. It feels like we're in a Law and Order episode, a bad one at that. But like,
Red Janet,
like Red. Oh God, here we go. But like, you know, snuff videos and weird animal. Let's just say animals aren't taken care of in these videos. 1xBet has been associated to all of these things.
Let's put it this way. At one point in time, 1xBet actually sponsored Liverpool and Chelsea. And because of their alleged illicit activity, they were pulled from that sponsorship. So these are like pretty big, you know, well-known football teams. And they weren't allowed to sponsor these teams anymore because of the activities they've been involved in. So
yeah, even the Russian government said, nah, y'all are too corrupt for us, buddy boy, and had them fined. So like, come on, guys, like this isn't like some tiny little no-name startup that's, you know, partnering with these guys. And see, the interesting word is I've seen been thrown around is partnered, and partnering usually means there's either some mutual benefit or there's going to be some deep interconnectivity between them. Like there might be an app where we play UFLs. I don't want to say their good name is going to be tarnished, but like there could be like an app where we play UFL will be able to link up to a 1xBet app. Like there's so many different things in this avenue, in this business venture, that we should keep an eye on. But like, yeah, I'm not saying it's looking rough, but it's something that we need to keep an eye on. For all we know, 1xBet might be on their best behavior for once and don't want to rock this boat, don't want to fumble this esports bag. So maybe there's no smoke, maybe there is no fire. But when you look at their history, and then you see something that you want to support, like your ESLs, your We Plays, and then you see it start to mix. I'm not saying that they're getting bit by a snake oil salesman, but I definitely know this person sells snake oil. That's essentially my point there. I mean, do you have any thoughts on this? Like, do you think there's anything to worry about, or do you think it's just something we should keep an eye on?
They don't sell snake oil. They sell volcano insurance. That is a legitimate business, and you shouldn't have to worry about that. Come on now.
But I live in Detroit.
Well, you see, they're a Russian company. They don't have to worry about that. They've got volcanoes in Russia that they can lend out to you and give you insurance for. So, yeah.
All right, man. But look, it's just weird. It's just weird that because this felt like it just came out of the blue, like overnight. Like it's just like they just announced it. And I also think it's weird that it's We Play and ESL like at the same time. Like that's just weird to me. Like normally it'll be one or the other, but like it's both.
Yeah, the company probably reached out to like both of them and offered them some sort of way that they can make more money off of the FGC, maybe. But I think it's specifically the FGC because that's what these two companies have in common, and being able to bet on the FGC is something that can easily be incorporated into the FGC because
we already have money matches, we already have people making side bets. Like this is something that people do live at the event in the venue of the event.
Nah, man, what are you talking about? None of that stuff happens in the event. This is all just stuff that happens off screen that we don't know about at all or see.
Nah, man. We're not gonna do this. We telling the truth out here.
Hey, bro, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never seen such illicit activities. That's right, government. I know that you're listening, and I've never seen such activities at these events that I tend to go to. So,
you only hear about it on the internet afterwards, so it's just hearsay. Is what he's saying.
As Nintendo has said, only good boys and good girls are involved in these events.
I would have a counter to that, but somehow I feel like we're gonna have to just pull out that old Reddit thread of all the people who were accused of a thing that we're not gonna talk about today.
Hey, whoa, guy. Nairo is
didn't say
protected,
him,
man.
I didn't say him.
Look, man. It's not a requirement to be a part of the community. It just happens to be a horrible thing that happened, and we're all trying to put that behind us and make sure these things don't happen. Hey, man, we're all trying to make sure these things don't happen again because the FGC as a whole has had those problems, and that's unfortunately a side effect of having a situation where you have adults and possibly teens have like a shared interest where some of them don't have the best intentions,
and some of their morality is questionable at best, because I'm getting the feeling that some of these dudes be like 38, 40, but because they play a kid's game, their brain never developed past 15, and they think they're 15, so they think it's okay. And there's a whole rabbit hole that we could dive down once we start talking about those weirdos, but we're not going to do that on this episode. We've done that on the past few episodes. So if you guys want to check out some of the older Clout.WAV episodes, then feel free to be my guest. That being said, we are in the right neighborhood. Am I correct?
Maybe we are. I don't know, man. It is Georgia. One of these days, somebody will come out. Hey, what you doing here, boy? Hey, whoa.
So, funnily enough, that happened recently, by the way.
To you?
Oh, no. I was talking about the video that we saw earlier today.
Ah, yes. Tell me more about this video.
Well, see, you brought it to my attention. I didn't really know about it too much. So when I clicked on it, apparently a U.S. Army sergeant, well, I guess I would say former and decommissioned Army sergeant at this point, in South Carolina assaults a young black man and says you're in the wrong neighborhood. And you see that the black gentleman decides to take a few steps to like, all right, I'm walking away. As the guy takes steps to follow him and then says, walk away from here. What are you doing here? And he's like, I live here. I'm just going for a walk. He said, well, you ain't walking, dude. And it's like, yeah, because you stopped me. And then you put your hands on me. He says, I never put my hands on you. He's like, yeah, you said, I never punched you. He said, you pushed me. And then the white man's response, 10 million IQ here. was 10 million IQ. 10 million IQ. He says, and I quote, "There's a difference between pushing and punching." And then he pushes him again right after that.
Yeah, and
With
his wife,
force.
who's like around, is like, "Oh, the push. Oh, you're mad about a push. Come on, that's nothing." And this man, the man pushes him again with like severe force. Man, this dude is a military. He was a military sergeant, I believe. So he
And
freaking he's pretty ripped.
Yeah,
So it's not like getting pushed by
was,
this guy is gonna do nothing.
and then like the wife was yelling, like, he's like, "That's right, you're the aggressor here." And like, I'm like, he's the one being pushed is the aggressor. In what world are we living in?
Do you want the answer to that question?
Let's
Because
hear it. Go ahead and answer for me, big boy.
we have confirmed that we are in the darkest timeline. So in the darkest timeline, we do have situations where people just believe, hey, well, since you look that way, you're always being the aggressor towards me because I feel threatened by you being in this neighborhood. Please, I don't want your kind around here. This is 100% I don't want your kind around here situation. And you know how it is. Some people, they're just sitting in their homes for some dumbass reason. They're looking outside and they're like, "Oh, what's that guy doing walking past my house? He should not be allowed to walk past my house. Hey, you, what are you doing? Get out of here. Get out of my neighborhood. Why are you going that way? Like you want to go the other way. That's how you get out of this neighborhood." And the man literally was like, "There are several ways to get out of this neighborhood, sir." And he's like, no, man. There's only one way to get out of this neighborhood. And he, proceeds to block the man from walking away as he attempts to walk away. So luckily, towards the end of the video, the man being harassed states that, he can smell the breath of the man who's harassing him, and says that, it sounds like you're drunk, man. Like, or it smells like you're drunk. So, like, I'm pretty sure you're drunk. So this man was like, you're drunk. I'm not trying to deal with it. And he tries to walk away. He tries to get away. The video ends before you can see any sort of like confrontation happen from that. But he did acknowledge that this man is drunk. So obviously this man is like.
But do you know what's wild to me?
What?
So the way the audio is, like we said, Twitter compression's terrible, and as we all know, everybody doesn't have the best phone with directional audio. But the way it sounds is the wife was filming the video and then said, "Oh, this is such a great video. It's time to upload." And it's just like, how did y'all think y'all were coming out on top on this?
Yeah, I couldn't tell if the wife was filming or if she was like on like another side. She was just off camera next to the person filming, and someone else was filming to like protect the guy.
Yeah, because the guy asked, "Are you filming this? Like, do you see this?" Which makes me believe that it's not the wife filming, but as I said, everyone doesn't have the best camera. Right.
So after this video got out, of course, people first off, people in the neighborhood saw this video, and you can actually see like other Black people like in the background of the video towards the end. So I thought, they were going to come up and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" or something like that. But instead, other Black members of the community showed up to the house of the people who were accosting this man, and they were outside basically protesting, because it was completely unfair the way they treated this man. It was pretty obvious that he was being aggressive towards this kid, young man, because of the fact that he was a Black guy walking in the neighborhood, and he was like, "Oh, it doesn't seem right, not in my neighborhood." It could have been because he's Black. It could have been because he seemed to be quote unquote poor, or whatever. It could have been any of those things. But this dude had weird preconceived notions about a guy he literally never met, and acknowledged that he never met because he said, "I've never seen you here," and the dude lives in his neighborhood.
But you want to know the other thing that I find really weird? It's like, my man didn't put no shoes on. My man, it's like, you just had to go out there.
Bro, bare feet, man. Bare feet.
My man just had to be, he had to let his presence be known.
Like, that's how I knew he was drunk.
Like, that's how you knew he was drunk? Nah, man. Look, I've seen people sober with no shoes on. I'm just saying, just walking out there just to accost and harass someone who's like almost a third of your size. That's terrible, bro. That's terrible.
Yeah,
Like, what are we doing, guys?
he was so belligerent,
And you're supposed
all
to go
because he
into the
saw someone walking.
military to learn discipline.
Right.
Clearly, that system failed this guy in particular. Clearly.
Apparently, so there was a tweet by another, I believe, general from the same site is not the right word for this, but whatever. From
what is superior officer?
Yeah, like a superior officer did tweet that, like, we don't condone this kind of behavior, and he will be, this will be dealt with. And according to some reports from some sleuths on the internet, the man in question in the video is already in jail for aggravated assault. So,
there you go.
Whatever's supposed to happen happens.
Social media justice at its best, I suppose.
No, they found like completely separate of this situation.
He has a history.
Yeah, he has a history, and this man landed himself in a jail cell for a completely different assault, a completely different situation already. So, like, by the time we all got to see this video became viral, that man landed himself in jail because he was out here. I don't know. He did it to the wrong person, I guess.
That's rough. That's rough. It's a tough way to go. But you know what? I am more than glad we got this person. And I can't stress this enough. Fuck out of here. That's all I'm saying. I'm just glad we got him out of here, bro. Because
I think it's very nice
get him out of here soon enough.
His community did, band together, and they're like, "This is wrong. He shouldn't have been treated like that." Oh, this apparently happened in South Carolina. Oh, they doxed this man. Oh, yeah. No, anyways,
they got his documentation.
They doxed this man hard. Yeah. But this happened in South Carolina. So people in that community who saw this and were like, this is not how we roll here. They teamed up, and they did what they could to protect this young man. And a woman posted on her Facebook like a long message about the name of the kid who was in the video and who he was. And she was like, "Oh, I'm so glad that you guys brought it to my attention. We, did what we could to, help him out and make sure that justice was, enacted here." I can read the whole thing, but it's a long thing, So basically, yeah, they refuse to see the man go to jail. So that's great, because we have other situations that unfortunately did not go as well
as this one.
Yeah.
Especially if we're talking about what happened over there at LSU, that's a weird story,
right?
I'm not saying that one's like a Stranger Things episode, but it's definitely not normal hour television. So those of you who don't know, Corey Gauthier, who is an LSU freshman who's been missing since last week, was identified as the body found in the Mississippi River in St. John the Baptist Parish. They may be saying, okay, she's been missing since last week. Are there any other details? Well, get this. Apparently, her car was found parked on a bridge with her cell phone and her purse still in it. And apparently, some third party crashed their car into the parked car because the parked car was blocking the bridge, so they just hit it. Even though you could definitely see a car on a bridge, especially if it was found running. That tells me that the lights are probably on.
Right.
So I'm not sure how somebody can hit the car unless you're drunk off your rocker. But then they said, all right, everything checks out. They lifted up the car, got it towed away, and did not contact the family. The towing company's inept. The cops are inept. The people at the scene are inept. Because if I find an abandoned car that's running, gets into an accident while it was abandoned, pretty sure the first line of defense on trying to figure out what we're doing here is finding out who the owner of this vehicle is. Getting into contact with anyone who may know owner of said vehicle and getting to the bottom of this, but they just kind of sat on it. But she was since reporting missing, and now that they have found the body in the river, now all of a sudden, people want to have an investigation. Now all of a sudden, this is an issue that people want to talk about. And I feel like we're about, 6 days behind on this.
All right. So I want to bring up a case that happened here in Georgia that people are still talking about because it's still it's of the same tier of very, very fishy, where a woman named I think it's Tamla Horsford. She went to a sleepover. So this is a 40-year-old woman who went to like a sleepover with like a bunch of other women. I believe she worked with them or knew them through some sort of way. But she disappeared, and they found her body. Like she just she mysteriously died. That's what they're going with for now. That somehow this woman went to this sleepover, and she was the only black woman at this sleepover here in Georgia, and she turned up dead. But they, somehow no one has any sort of evidence on this. Just like another case where a kid was murdered, and he would his body was put in the mats of the gym for his school, and he was rolled up in the mats, and still somehow, some way, they don't know what happened there.
Because it was supposed to be like a wrestling mat, and I guess they were going to have a wrestling competition. Say, yo, what's that smell? And they unrolled the mat, and the kid pops out.
Right. And one of the kids who were involved in the situation apparently is related to one of the cops in the area. So it's one of those situations where it's okay, why was this not being investigated? Oh, I see. The wheels are turning now.
But you know where they found the body, right?
For who?
Horsford.
Corey?
No, for Horsford.
No, I don't remember.
So according to what the witnesses call it, it was a slumber party with the football moms. Not sure how that works, but Horsford apparently arrived at the slumber party at 10 p.m. on November 3rd, 2018. Attendees drank, watched football, played Cards Against Humanity. Yes, you are aware. There were also
now it's a real party.
There were also 3 men at the house. According to witnesses, Horsford got up at 2 a.m. to go smoke a cigarette on the back porch. The next morning at 7:30 a.m., the homeowner's aunt found Horsford lying face down and motionless under the porch.
That's what it was.
So, she went out the side to smoke at 2, and then she died under the porch face down?
Yeah, there's no accidental way of
happening. And then there's abrasions and things of that nature found on her body. And the homeowner's boyfriend called 911, and then the 911 call Barrera described Horsford as lying face down and not breathing. He also brought attention to the small cut on her wrist, suggesting that it may have been self-inflicted. How? A woman's voice can be heard on the call speculating that Horsford might have fallen from the balcony. And here's the thing. They said she went to go outside for a cigarette on the back porch. Now, I don't know about y'all. I have a back porch. I know. Porch in the South, a little bit different. You can have a porch on the second story. But I don't know what you could possibly do to be on top of the porch, fall off, and then land face down under porch. Because you would have to do like a wraparound from top, fall, and then go underneath. But we wouldn't call that but the wording of it, that's not a balcony, that's a back porch. Because you could have a balcony on the second floor, but those aren't porches. I know I'm getting into legalese here when it comes to being asinine about the definition here, but I live in the South. I live in the state in question. Therefore, wouldn't I know what the average porch looks like down here? I've seen upper echelon houses' porches. Porches are pretty big. Balconies are normally a thing that you could stand on and maybe look at the railing, but that's not a porch.
Yeah. Also,
unless you're trying
falling
to
from that.
now, unless you're trying to say she went out into a balcony that was on a higher floor, fell off the balcony, which would be tiny, and then somehow hit the porch and then wrapped underneath the. You still have to do the part where you wrap under the porch.
Yeah, I don't think even a snake could end up like in a situation like that of like falling from even like a higher distance from like a balcony and then just hitting a porch and then somehow ending up face down under the porch. Yeah, there's.
But I do think it's weird that somebody could fall from any distance, not breathing, but the average person, you know, the what a lot of people would call the primary suspect, was like, seems like she has a cut on her wrist. And I'm like, that's the first thing you notice?
From the fall?
Just saying, sounds sus to me.
Also, nobody hurt the fall.
Exactly, because the thing that's weird is that they said that she went out at 2 a.m. That means you saw her leave.
Right.
And when she never came back, y'all never thought, that's weird.
Like, what, you guys thought she just went home?
That's suspicious.
Without her keys?
She didn't even say bye.
Without her car? Like, hello?
Like this.
What, she flew?
No, man, she's a secret DLC character in Injustice 3, bro. Relax. She just took off, bro.
Lucy Lawless, huh?
Yep, she just identified as an Apache helicopter and went.
All right, man. We can stop with the Apache helicopter jokes here.
No, man, I had to bring y'all back to 2016, you know, just a little bit. Just a smidge. But the point is, like, there's some suspicious paranormal activity going on over here that I just feel like people didn't do their due diligence in looking into. And I don't know when this pattern is going to end of people just spontaneously disappearing and having the most lackluster in follow-up investigations. But it's got to stop, man. What are the taxpayers paying for? Because it clearly can't be protection. Clearly.
Also, let's make this fucking clear right now, okay? If you are driving and you see a car in the way and the car is not moving, put your foot on the brake. Don't fucking hit the car and be like, now it's out of my way. 1, it's damaging your car. 2, it's damaging that car. 3, you could kill someone. Maybe the person who's in the car, if there's someone in there, maybe someone in your car, or maybe someone who might be like on the street or somewhere close to the car, and you bump the car and the car moves towards that person and hits them, because cars are not light. They are heavy. So if someone is just, walking by or something and a car comes towards them and it hits them, they're probably not going to come out of that, completely unscathed. Not unless they're a Kryptonian, and we don't have those so far that we know.
Okay, so allow me to give you a little bit of detail here. So Devin Jones is the motorist who found Gaultier's parked car on the Mississippi Bridge, right? He said that the collision became unavoidable when another driver cut him off on the bridge. The car swerved in front of me and cut lanes. All I saw was a parked car, Jones said, adding it was either the car or an 18-wheeler. So now it's like, so you mean to tell me some fourth party car cut you off, but because you were cut off, now your only choice was to hit an 18-wheeler, which was not a car that cut you off, or the parked car? Does that not sound weird to you?
Yep.
Like, so on a bridge, there's a parked car, an 18-wheeler, and a car cut you. If a car cut you off, wouldn't that mean that car that cut you off has no choice to also hit the 18-wheeler? Or the parked car? Or did Thanos snap that car out of existence? Like, I have so many questions.
It don't add up. We gotta bust out the scientists here. See, if this was an episode of Law and Order or Law and Order SVU, we would have had the rope guy come out here and say, you see, with the trajectory that this car was going and the fact that this car here was not going anywhere, the amount of force that was generated from a car that weighs this much hitting a car that weighs that much would deduce that none of this makes sense.
Yeah, then it would add a weird stinger at the end of the episode. Olivia Benson would go like, and then you would hear, and then Dick Wolf's name would pop up, and then it would play a commercial for Stabler Comes Home Again.
And Ice-T would be like, "Wow, it looks. I can't even make a car fun right now, man. This is like you just come out with something like, wow, they really out here hitting parked cars. Yo, they can't see."
You ever heard of a ghost driving a motor operated vehicle? Like, come on now, like, what are we doing here, folks?
Talk about a new definition for ghost riding the whip.
Oh, there it is. There it is. I've heard of ghost riding the whip, but this is ridiculous. But anywho, yeah, it's just weird. Like, it's just weird to me. Now, if once again sticking on the theme of things being weird to me. Did you hear that BBC's, the British Broadcasting Channel's diversity chief, says Idris Elba's Luther isn't authentic enough to be real because he doesn't have any black friends and he doesn't eat any Caribbean food? You know, there's this.
All right, so
like I'm not gonna delve into this too much because I don't want to give this type of nonsense like as much airtime as because doesn't deserve airtime. Is my point. It's ridiculous.
I want to point out something lore wise that proves that to be factual, like just completely unfactual, inaccurate, as some may say.
All right,
because
talk to me.
The Luther lore was expanded with an SNL skit of Idris Elba as Luther going to a family dinner with his other black family members and eating Caribbean food. So no, you're wrong. Miranda Wayland.
Because the
Luther isn't black enough. Come on.
Because the other thing about that is when they say that, he's not authentic enough. Basically, what he's trying to say, he's not black enough. That's what the word authentic is supposed to mean in this case.
There's also a black man in the UK, like in England. Like,
and
this is different standards.
And they're just like, he doesn't have any black friends and he doesn't eat Caribbean food. It's like, let's just say these things were true. They're not. They're both false. But let's just say these things were true. Acting, my friend.
Right.
Acting. There's this thing you do where you're not a guy or you're not a woman, and then you portray, you act as if you are a different person or character in another mythos that isn't of this dimensional plane, where you tell a story, not necessarily bound in fact or reality, but
also,
something that's more of an act of a fiction.
When do we draw the line where we say, hey guys, maybe the TV show character is not realistic because it's a television show? Like, also, DCI Luther is unrealistic for other reasons in the show. Okay, there are some very questionable moral choices that this character made, and on top of that, he basically was L from Death Note. Like, every time he was presented with a situation where it's just like we don't know what to do, Luther. What are we gonna do? Oh, of course, Tuesday. It's Tuesday right now. You see, a creature of his habit on a Tuesday would go to the laundromat. But see, he believes that you would want to go to the laundromat. So then we're actually gonna go to the pub, and then we're gonna find him there with his buddy, who's actually the one who's committing all of the crimes. And then we'll find everything we need. Now I need to get back to
This is giving me the Suicide Squad vibes from not the live action one, but the first Suicide Squad movie, Assault on Arkham. Where my man looked at that VH, he was looking at things like Alfred Roman security footage from Arkham. Man was always
Jim doesn't work on Thursdays.
Yeah, he's like, Jim doesn't work on Thursdays. There's something wrong at Arkham, and that man got in the car and went straight there. I was like, nah, bro. Like, Luther gives you that type of vibes, and like to say that Idris Elba can't play the character because he's not authentic enough. It's like, the person who wrote this article, who are you to even make that statement? Do you know Idris Elba on a first name basis where you can just walk and be like, hey, what's up, Idris, what's going? Like, do you know him like that? Because if that's the case, I'm just trying to figure out how, like, if that's not the case, like, how do you know if he has no black friends? Like, I just feel like you just saying stuff because you have a blog.
No, I think you're talking about the character in the show as like the character is not believable because he doesn't have black friends, but he's a black man in England. So like, who cares? Two, that's not a requirement for black people. Three, he's a man of his environment.
Well, trust me,
That's it.
we have seen plenty of people in the suburbs who have stories who grew up saying, I was the only white person in my I was the only black person in my insert thing here. And they exist. They're real.
Right. Exactly. Who created these like weird standards that a black person is not black enough because as far as the television show like depicts to you, he doesn't interact with other black people or he doesn't have like black friends. That like he does have friends that are probably like off show, off screen, whatever. Like that's possible. On top of that, towards the end of the series, they do introduce like another detective who is a black woman who he does have like some sort of like close relationship to. At the very least, like he's acquainted with her. So it's not to say that he wouldn't be friends with black people. Like it's just a real weird take for someone who's the diversity diversity chief who is a black woman from what I've seen. So I don't maybe she's trying to make this argument that he is not representing the black community enough or something like that in the show, but this is Idris fucking Elba. Like come on. Even though she's looking at DCI Luther as a character, they're DCI Luther's racial identity didn't necessarily define his character, and that was what made him interesting. Like he wasn't.
You could have a story where a character is the character is black is more of the footnote, not the defining characteristic of everything that character is going to be.
This actually goes into another point about something else that I wanted to bring up about how creators who try to create black characters for their movies often like black creators now are focused on this ideal that black characters have to be in some sort of trauma, or they have to be in the generic like hood scenario, or they have to be like surrounded by only other black people in order for them to accurately represent black people, as if black people don't
coming
do
of age
other
story
things.
about coming from the streets,
or black people have to get fucking tortured so that you can feel like bad and say, oh, this is terrible that this is happening to black people. It's always something.
I used to watch my dad beat my mother every single day.
Or it's like it's a fucking period piece of the like civil rights era when it was totally legal.
Are you?
Right.
No, that's another joke. There's a series called Them, which is basically, what if a black family moved into a civil rights era white neighborhood? Oh, it's bad. All the black people getting raped. All of them getting murdered. They all coming up missing.
Terrible. Like all these depictions of this violence against black people during a time when violence against black people is a problem in society. It just doesn't it doesn't add up. Like you can only watch Roots so many times. You know what I'm saying? Like there are other mediums that can be explored. It doesn't have to be everyone is getting just like beat up in the streets all the time. Everyone's getting attacked, or it doesn't have to be like that episode of Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone, where you had the magical racist white cop who, for some reason, this woman was just trying to take her son to college, and this cop shows up to the diner that they're in and is just like, "Hey, ma'am, is that your car? Is that your car that you're about to walk into? Actually, let me see your license and registration." And it's like, why? It's like, this is my car. This is under, my name. I own this. And then for whatever reason, this becomes a Groundhog Day episode where like the timeline shifts, resets every single time this cop goes after them and ends up attacking her son or like trying to kill them or whatever. And so every single time, no matter what she did, even when she didn't even like interact with the cop or interact around him, she would just get in the car and like sneak past him and start driving. This cop somehow knew, and he got in his car and chased after them anyways to be like, "Get back here! I need to question you about whether or not that's her car." And it's like, why? Yeah, it's one thing that this cop is racist in this scenario, but like, why is his racism magical?
Well, here's the thing. I feel like this plot thread has been reused very recently because the Netflix just dropped a short film called Two Distant Strangers, and it's legit just the same thing, a Groundhog Day scenario where a guy's like just trying to live his life, and for whatever reason, no matter where he goes, there's this white cop that's like, "Now you listen here now, darky, I need to know where you think you's going with that book bag filled with money, huh? That's right, I'm on to you now. Get on the curb." What? And then eventually he just kills him. And eventually it goes to a point where he goes through this cycle 99 times. And then
spoilers.
It's a 30-minute short film. If you ain't seen it by now, you ain't seeing it. All right, let's keep it a buck. But yeah, spoilers. So after the 99th time of going through this carousel merry-go-round, he decides, all right, I'm getting home. I got to get to my dog. I got to do what's right. So he decides to go, all right, listen, cop, this is what's going on. This is the deal. And he started pointing out stuff. That lady's about to do jumping jacks. That girl's about to get kissed. All that stuff. Yada, 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 so on and so forth. It's nonsensical, but that's what they do. Like, oh, you do that. They're going to do that. A white car is going to come around the corner. And the cop goes, wow, how do you know all this? How long have you been in this time loop? Says 99 times. Whatever. It's fine. We move forward. We push on to dawn. And then the cop goes, man, that's crazy. And I've killed you every time. And he's like, yeah, man. He's like, wow. And eventually that plot thread ends up to him getting killed again. So then he goes through it again. And then he even goes on to say, hey, look. You're about to say. He starts giving him the exact quotables that the racist cop is about to even say. And he's like, wait, how do you know what I was about to say? Because we've been through this before. Then once again, he explains all the other consistencies that have happened throughout this time loop. And then he's like, wow, that's crazy. He said, look, can you just take me home? I just don't feel safe. He tried to put the agency of him getting home into the cop's hands. The cop says, all right, gets him in the car. Obviously, old boy's in the back. And he's like, even for a ride along, I got to sit in the back? That's kind of weird. And he's like, yeah, it's illegal for you to sit up front, which we know is cap, but okay. So they get to his house. And he's like, yada, yada, yada. They start discussions, a little bit of politics, whatever. And then my man goes home and he wants to get to his dog. And then the white cop just says, yeah, this was fun and all, and kills him anyway. Just kills him again. And then he wakes up and he starts the loop all over again, and then it ends. And I'm like, yo, what are we doing? What are we doing?
I get that it's supposed to, evoke like a powerful message of like, in situations like that, we feel powerless, and that, sometimes in those situations you can't change that person's mind no matter what, and that person has power over you because they're an authority figure. But it also makes it seem like it's very hopeless for us to deal with any.
It's like you said, it was magical racism, because there's even one scene where he convinces the guy to let him go. And he says, all right, you just get out of here. And then as soon as he turns the corner, two black youths rob somebody else and run past him. And then two other cops come out and see him with a bag full of money. Yeah.
That is okay. Ultimately,
to be honest, in that universe, seems like God's the racist one here.
Yeah, ultimately I'm just trying to avoid all that stuff. And like, since them has been like thrown in my face like daily, like literally every time I turn on my television, they're like, don't you want to watch this? It's like, no, I'm good.
I do hate the swagger jack that they did on Jordan Peele, because he had us and they're like them, and I'm like, you really just saw us and say, yeah, we can go down that avenue.
And Us wasn't like widely accepted. I mean, I think Get Out was the only one recently that people that the majority of people were like, this is really like I really enjoyed this because it was
Yeah,
done
but
in a
here's
very
the thing,
interesting
though.
way.
Us wasn't even about race. Just had a black family as the star actors.
As star actors, yeah.
They just wanted to be like, oh, black people in shock horror? Them. I am convinced that's why they called it that.
I mean, between what Lovecraft Country, the Watchmen series that came out on HBO, uh, Get Out, uh, the Twilight Zone episode with Jordan Peele, them. Uh,
Two Distant
God.
Strangers.
Wait, what?
I just want to say Two Distant Strangers again.
Oh, Two Distant Strangers. Oh, I thought you said Judas and the Strangers. I was like, what?
What? Nah, bro.
Oh my God, not the Fred Hampton doc. There was something else. I think Queen and Slim apparently had some stuff like that in it too. Like all this stuff. I mean, some of them do it right. Like They See Us, or When They See Us, which was about like a real life story, and it depicted like how horrible the situation was for these boys who were accused of a crime that they definitely didn't commit, and it got so much hype to a point where Donald Trump was out here tweeting like, "Yeah, throw them all in jail," like that kind of nonsense when they didn't do it, and how them going to jail like scarred them for life. And like then Oprah, doing an interview with the real life dudes, and you seeing that these dudes basically never recovered from the situation. They just like recovered as much as they could because horrible things happened to them as a result of this. Yeah, these things, it's like it's just trauma everywhere during a time where we're seeing trauma all the time on the news. I mean, we literally just talked about like a girl being found dead. We're literally seeing news stories about young man who got shot by a cop who said that she thought she was pulling out her taser. We're seeing all of these things happen. They have situations like oh my God, before I butcher her name, was it Carol Horn, who she herself was a cop. She's a cop who saw injustice happening. She saw another cop about to choke out someone who was already handcuffed, and she was like, "Hey, yo, stop!" and like stop the cop from choking this person. She got fired for it. This happened 15 years ago, and now the department that fired her is coming out to say, "Oh, we were wrong for firing her."
Well, no, a judge
Ooh.
said that she was wrong
Oh, a judge.
She was
I'm
wrongfully
sorry.
fired. I don't think the department's taking any responsibility for that yet. But at the end of
That's
the day,
even worse.
at the end of the day, it's like, so the person choking out someone who's already incapacitated and handcuffed, and pretty much there's nothing they can do.
Right.
They're not going to see any repercussions. But an officer saying, "Hey, bro, enough is enough," they're getting fired. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But you know what that tells me? So y'all can swiftly get somebody out of here. You just refuse to do it in most cases.
It's just so ridiculous that like after all of that, now they're just like, "Oh, my bad." It's like, what is she going to do?
1-800 our bad.
She lost her job for years, so like, that's a bad mark on her name too, because it's like, hey, I see here you were fired for an altercation, and then based on some legalese, you may not even be able to talk to like future employers about it and shit like that, or they may like Google and then see all these like misleading articles that would talk about it in a different light, all kinds of nonsense. Had to deal with that for years, and then to have someone be like, have a judge be like, yeah, they shouldn't have done that. That was wrong. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. She gets that acknowledgement of like, thank you for seeing that I was in the right the whole time, but 15 years to realize something that's plain as day. Hey, someone who's handcuffed is not a danger.
Like, it's just weird that
Unless
like there wasn't even any ambiguity in this. Like, that's what's weird to me. And by the way, the officer Carrie Horn, she's black. I just want you to know that. I don't know if we said it that part, but she was a black officer. Our point is, so you can get people the hell out of here when you're an officer.
Exactly.
Now I want to believe she got some sort of monetary stipend for the transgression, but I don't think it was much. But the Buffalo Police Department had adopted such a rule in 2019, and the last fall council approved it, and it's called the Carriles Law, with a vote 8-1. After she had filed a lawsuit seeking to vacate the firing and citing the case involving George Floyd. Shortly before that, she and others in Buffalo had begun to press members of the city's legislature, the Common Council, to pass a so-called duty to intervene law, which basically doing what she did, to requiring officers to step in when one of their own is using excessive force.
Yep.
And this didn't pass unanimously. That vote was still 8-1. Someone still was like, no.
Exactly. I don't trust him, whatever. I recently saw the Paula Deen episode of Law and Order SVU, where like sometimes media like that makes it hard to convince people that these like situations happen, that these like racist situations like truly happen, because in the episode she was depicted as a woman who was like basically she was like telling people, she's like, yeah, that's right. She was like, the Jewish people, the black people, everybody here in New York, they're all terrible, but I don't want them touching me, this and that, they're all animals. And she would just say that blatantly to people. But then at when she's facing a court case where she shot somebody, she was like, no, I didn't shoot that boy because he was black. I shot him because I felt like I was in danger. It's like,
you talking about the there was an episode where like she was apparently walking to her gate, but I forgot if she dropped something, but the kid was wearing headphones. You talking about that episode?
Yeah, because at the time they were looking for someone who fit a similar description, because he was actually like out here attacking like rich white women in the I think it was the Upper East Side or Upper West Side. So she used that to turn around and shoot this man. And she told them that he like reached out and tried to like, attack her or whatever. But in actuality, when they did
the ballistics, autopsy, they found out that he couldn't have been that close.
Right. So she shot him point blank in the chest from like a couple of feet away. And she was like, nah, it's not because I hate black people. And then they had scenes where she was like blatantly racist to people. There's a scene where she's talking to Rollins, who was like she was from Georgia, which I'm not even gonna get into how they paint Georgia, but she's from Georgia. She's like, yeah, back in old Georgia, they would be giving me a medal right now. They wouldn't be even like giving me a court case. Us girls, we always gotta deal with these situations. But yeah, they would give me a medal for dealing with these darkies. And it's like,
these Hoft?
It doesn't happen like that in real life 9 times out of 10. Like, you're not gonna like the neo-Nazi is not gonna tell you they're an actual neo-Nazi. They're not gonna like proudly be like say, hey, I'm a Nazi 9 times out of 10. They're gonna say, all right, rhetoric.
So I just want to give a quick closing thing on the Horn thing, where the officer in question that was doing the assault is Kwiatkowski. And as soon as she was fired in 2008, Kwiatkowski was then promoted to lieutenant in the same year. So he got a promotion.
Oh, yeah. Now, I remember that.
The dispute between Mrs. Horn and Kwiatkowski did not just end when she left the police department. He then sued her for defamation of character and won a $65,000 judgment against her. So not only did she get fired, she had to pay the man who was abusing his power $65,000.
And so like where does that stand now? That's already happened, but they're going back and saying, hey, yeah, she shouldn't have been fired, which means that case
it's like, should she get her money back?
Yeah, should she like get her money back? Does she now have grounds to sue him for that defamation lawsuit?
At that point, you should be able to sue the court in the state.
She should, honestly, yeah, but
and Officer Kwiatkowski's own police career ended under a clout. because he retired in 2011 while facing an internal affairs investigation, and he was indicted the next year on federal civil rights charges stemming from the arrest of 4 black teenagers. He ultimately pleaded guilty and was sentenced to, guess how long he was in prison? Guess without looking it up.
10 years? Nah, 2.
10 years? All right.
Yeah, 10 years.
Two's a good guess. YouTube comment section below. I want you to pause the video right now and just go ahead and type how long you think Senor Kwiatkowski was in jail. Go on. I'll give you about another 8 seconds. All right. The guesses are in. My man was sentenced to 4 months in prison. 16 weeks. You sounded mighty quiet over there, my guy. You good?
No. Like, I can't be surprised, but at the same time, what the fuck, man? Like that's what he got. All right. Anyways, like that's the problem. That is the type of problem that needs to be addressed. You know, that he blatantly abuses power, and he's only getting like a few months.
No, blatantly abuses power. The only person who ever stood up to him abusing his power
got fired,
and then he sued them for $65,000 and got a promotion in the same year. And now he's just getting 4 months?
Yeah.
Trying to do the right thing lost you your job and $65,000 in the hole. Doing the wrong thing got you a promotion, more money, $65,000, and all you had to do was spend 4 months in prison.
Yeah, I'm good.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Hey, that's the system that we are in here. Yep.
Well, anyways, also an update to the Dante Wright story about the woman who thought she was going for a taser. She is facing the prosecutor says that she is facing a manslaughter charge. Now, we've also been here before with the man who is on trial right now, where they're like, yeah, all those people, they're going to get charged for, manslaughter, murder, all that stuff. They're all going to get,
they do get charged. They're not going to get anything after that, but they will be charged. Right. They won't be indicted. They won't be put away, but it'll be like, we're accusing you of, and that's typically as far as it's ever going to go. Now, in this case, we have seen plenty of people come up in these comment threads and these Twitter threads saying things like, well, if you don't drive off, you know what I mean? Things like this won't happen. It's like, have you ever heard of this thing called a police chase? You ever heard of, he's getting away, but we have his tags? And everyone's saying, but it was just an accident. You're 25 years on the force. I'm pretty sure you know the difference between the weight of your gun and your taser.
I mean, apparently he was handcuffed and he got out of his handcuffs, and that's why he got into his car and tried to run away. Apparently the charge that he was getting arrested for was related to fleeing arrest for a firearm.
So he was able to flee once, and you were somehow able to catch him later. What a novel concept.
Right.
It's almost like you could have just caught him again, because this person clearly seemed like they weren't smart. They definitely weren't smarter than the law. I'll tell you that right now. So you went. But here's the thing. If they got in their car to drive away, was the door closed? I'm just trying to figure out, reaching for the taser at that moment.
To my knowledge, the door was open when he was trying to drive away. And that's how she got the shot off.
I don't know. It's just weird to me. I feel as though any cop who's been on the force for, how long has she been on the force? A quarter century? 25 years?
Yeah, about 25 years.
Knows where their gun is at all times. And knows where their taser is at all times. Am I wrong to make that assertion? Is that weird to me?
It's not weird.
You've been on the force for 25 years. I'm pretty sure you know which is which. Especially because they definitely feel different in the hand. and they do not look the same at all. Like I'm just confused by this. Is all I'm saying. And once again, they'll be charged, but nothing will come of it, and then people will be outraged again.
The interesting thing that I didn't know at first was that Dante Wright is mixed. He's got a black father and I believe, white mother. And they've of course put out statements saying like this wasn't an accident. Like my son was murdered. And I'm not okay with that. That sort of thing. And the mom said she wants justice. I mean, he was 19 years old. Was he 19? No. Anyways, yeah. I'm rambling, but yeah, it's surprising that this 20-year-old was stopped for like a traffic stop, and then he apparently had a warrant out, and then this situation occurred, even though usually especially from my experience with something like this, once they cuff you, they sit you down or they put you in the car, so there's no way that you can like even have an opportunity to run away. So what exactly did she do to where he was able to get out of his handcuffs? Because usually they put those things on very tight. And then also get to his car to run away. She did apparently yell that she's going to tase him, and then she shot him. So that's another.
So that means did she have it in her hand?
Yes.
Would she have it in her hand when she said like that's more than ample time for you to, you know what? You just, I don't know. Some of the stuff you just can't make up. You just can't make up. But I know we went down a long anti-cop like diatribe here, but y'all just gotta do better.
So.
Yeah, she resigned, but it's like y'all gotta do better, y'all. Y'all just have to do better. Be better.
This was something that could have been avoided.
Like 25 years making that much of a rookie blunder mistake. Like, come on, buddy. Like, come on. But speaking of mistakes, I hate to dial it back to a lighter issue, but did you hear about this? The Nintendo Switch is getting yet another exclusive. Because apparently they're making a remake of an old classic, House of the Dead. What? Where did how? Why? Coming to Switch later this year, by the way.
Maybe it'll come with Typing of the Dead also.
Boy, if it comes with Typing of the Dead, I'm all in. Let's stop the cap. I'd play that.
I mean, that's the one where instead of them having guns, they had like battery packs with giant keyboards, and they were typing, and like so you type, and then the zombies are somehow shot and killed by the typing.
So, given what I'm looking at as I'm watching the trailer right now on the other monitor, I'm gonna say this. It looks like they spared every expense possible to bring this to you. Because it literally looks like it was in the same art style as Telltale's The Walking Dead. It looks jank, but it looks a little bit, like graphically it looks a little, and I mean a little bit more polished than the Telltale games. But it doesn't have like it doesn't have the anything that really brings the game to a newer generation. Like even if we're talking about going from like PS1 and Dreamcast to like GameCube or PS2, or going further than that, like Xbox 360, PS3, hell, even Nintendo Wii. There are Wii games that look comparable to this. Wii.
Yeah. Why now?
And that's my other question. Like, why now? Like, I just feel like this 1996 game could have been so much better served by getting a full ground up remake on a modern day console. But I understand, like, maybe they were like, oh, we can't put it on PS5 and Xbox Series X because those consoles are, in high demand right now, and there's not enough supply, and we won't be able to sell units because those consoles cannot be acquired right now. So they went the Switch route. I'm not sure. It's just a big why right now. It's a big huh? We're
Yeah, the games
doing
industry has
what?
like a very weird thing going on where um remaking games is like the wave, but they're not doing it in a smart way like Square Enix. Okay, Square Enix is doing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and in Final Fantasy VII Remake, it is not exactly the same as original Final Fantasy VII. Even with the story, there are like adjustments that were made,
Well, here's the thing.
and
It's not even
so
just adjustments. It's implied that Final Fantasy VII, way back when, is still canon. There's like another Sephiroth who's like making plans using the knowledge of the old game.
right, that's all still like up in the air, but like yeah, they are making like implications that this may be like a sequel to the original Final Fantasy VII, so that they can actually expand the story in a way where people can get an outcome that they want more than what they got from the first one. So like maybe Aerith doesn't die and stuff like that. So you can do remakes, but yeah, you can do remakes, reboots, stuff like that, and they can work if you do it in an original way. But if you're just taking the game and saying, "Here it is on your new console," like, what is that? Like, PS3 is getting rid of their store, and why? Because PlayStation Now exists. Because they're re-releasing old like games that came out on PS3 and stuff like that, just so they can get more money from people that way. Even though it's not like people would not buy games on the PS3 store, still, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really weird that they have these ideas of like, let's take House of the Dead, an arcade classic from a certain era that only worked in that era, and then release it on home consoles as if people are going to be like, oh yeah, I don't have a light gun, but I'm going to play this at home. Like, you have a completely different experience, and that experience is nerfed. So it doesn't make sense.
But I mean, with the Switch, I mean, maybe people are going to find a way to enjoy it. Maybe people will like it. But it looks like it's going to be like in the light gun esque, era and the light gun esque controls, which means you're going to have to play it with the Wiimote and pointing it at the screen and tapping the corresponding buttons. So you already know that's going to be weird to play in tablet mode if you're ever going to do that. I don't know why you would, but it is the Nintendo Switch for a reason. But I don't know. Once again, it's a big why. Speaking of which, did you hear that they plan on doing a full-scale remake of the first Last of Us already?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so apparently, Last of Us is apparently getting a rumored PS5 remake.
Just upscale. Look.
No, because remember, a year after the original Last of Us launched, they made Last of Us Remastered, and that was within a year of it launching when the PS4 comes out.
Yeah, and that like came out with the PS4, but it was like
But Polygon apparently reached out to a PlayStation representative for an additional comment, and the company declined to comment on Bloomberg's report, which does not say when the Last of Us remake on the PlayStation 5 is expected, which is really weird because like they made a statement about it, but they don't want to confirm or deny the statement. And it's just like, all right, we shouldn't even be in the talk of remaking a game that came out 8 years ago, that got a remaster 7 years ago, and got its sequel, last year?
Yeah.
COVID's really ruined time for me. So like it could have been.
Yeah, it came out last year.
Okay.
It came out last year. But it won Game of the Year last year too. So
yep, you're. I think it almost swept every award. Like I think they gave Hades some pity awards, and then it was like Last of Us 2 wins everything else. Get the broom and sweep.
Mm-hmm. Like there's no reason to do this. Like on top of that, they're making what is it? It's a live action series or a movie for Last of Us also, all because of Last of Us 2 getting the hype and the controversy that it got when it came out. But we're in 2021. All that stuff has subsided now. Like the way the society works now is that all that stuff is hype and in the zeitgeist then, but by the time all this other shit comes out, we'll have like not really cared as much about Last of Us, and we'll be Last of Us tired of it anyway.
Exactly.
So like this reboot will come out, and it's like,
Because look,
why?
I got tired of the zombie fetish thing that everyone's been going through in
Sure.
Hollywood and video games in like 2015. Call of Duty
Same.
got on the ball. Walking Dead has a TV show, a spin-off TV show, the Talking Dead TV show podcast. We've had Resident Evil get all of their live action movies. We've seen a resurgence in late of Resident Evil games. We've had Resident Evil was Operation Raccoon City. There was Revelations. There was the weird like Metal Gear Survive-ish-esque like tactical multiplayer FPS game. Like, Resident Evil has been all over the map with its games. Everybody's been trying to find a way to put zombies modes into their games. Zombies have pretty much been all of the 2010s. And it's like, all right, we get Walking Dead coming, or not Walking Dead, House of the Dead coming back. Tired of zombies, okay? I'm tired of it. We're getting a zombie movie where Batista's about to Batista bomb a zombie to rob a bank in Vegas.
That's right. Oh, also of note, because you brought up that movie, apparently because of Chris D'Elia's controversy, he got taken out of the movie. They replaced him with Tig Navarro, and they reshot all of Tig's stuff on a green screen because of COVID. And the new trailer came out, and it's all woven in. Like the Tig has completely replaced Chris D'Elia's character. Who seemed to be just kind of like a protagonist group character, but more on like one of the like side characters in that group. So Tig Navarro is replacing Chris D'Elia, which is an amazing feat because they are different people. They are different sized people and everything. So they managed to completely exit one dude out of the movie and replace him with a completely different.
Look, when you have $80,000 to $150,000 cameras with giant lighting things that you can ship to somebody, it's not hard for me to believe that you can green screen somebody into a movie fully and just take somebody else out. I understand with COVID restrictions, Hollywood has been kicking it into maximum overdrive when it comes to their special effects, departments. But I'm just not shocked anymore.
Right.
They really had Paul Walker die and just said, "Hey, your brother looks close enough. Film the scene for us real quick." And
that scene was not good. He just had the back of his head walking away. It was like a CGI back of his head, man. Like that's not a good example.
Well, I'm just saying, like they started beta testing all this technology like 4 or 5, 6 years ago. So
yeah,
now,
right.
like, nah, I believe it. I believe it at this point. Yep, I'm all in on that. Yep. But yeah, like I said, tired of the zombinos. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Like, then you had DayZ and World War Z. Like, there's too much zombie stuff that's come out in the past 10 years. I'm good on that, Chief. But
also, zombies don't represent what they used to. Like, okay, originally zombies were meant to represent consumerism and the average consumer of how, zombie movies took place in malls. Why? Because the average consumer tends to drone on into malls to just buy whatever is there, consume product, whatever, kind of like a zombie. And they're like, this is how you guys are with product placement and, products and just like materialism in general. All of that stuff. Zombies don't represent any of that shit anymore. I'll tell you that right now. Zombies are just something there for people to kill. And then now Walking Dead has pushed it further to where zombies are just there as background noise to be like a scapegoat problem for all these people to have their regular problems. And then, be like, but it's all hyper dramatic because of the fact that they're in a life or death situation with these, things that may show up and eat them.
Yeah, but now you have to add super zombies into the mix.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's right.
Because, oh no, we're getting a game that's basically Left 4 Dead with a new development team.
What? Oh,
and yeah. You know what I'm talking about. I forget what it's called.
We're getting another Left 4 Dead game.
Yeah. So, I mean, zombies are, they're not going away anytime soon, folks. They're not. It's just not happening. Just like when your girl Ashley Babbitt climbed to that window and they told her, "Go away or we'll turn you into a zombie." And she said, "I refuse to go." And well, she didn't get back up, folks. And I don't know, like, some of y'all may not know what I'm talking about, but Ashley Babbitt is one of the people who decided to break into the Capitol building on that fateful January 6th. And an officer said, "Hey, we're not doing that, bucko." And she said, "Oh, I'm doing it." He said, "I'll put you down if you do it." And then she went ahead and did it. And then she got put down. And now you have a bunch of people saying, "Oh my God, he didn't have to do that." And as you heard, or may have not have heard, the officer involved in that shooting has basically been cleared of any wrongdoing. There's not going to be a huge court battle. Like, it's just like, nah, you didn't do anything wrong. Justice was served. Salute to you, sir. And they moved on. And now you have... Now, go on.
There was a man by the name of Gutex who coined the term MAGA martyr for this woman, because he said, "I have my third eye open. You guys don't understand the persecution that comes with being different from people, and this woman gave her life in order for people to continue to be different." That's right. The original PogChamp was out here defending this woman and her actions, saying, she gave her life for her cause. Now, what was the cause of breaking into a Capitol building?
I did not know Gutex was the one that started MAGA Martyr. I did not know.
You didn't know? Okay.
No, I know. I knew that how he felt. I did not know he was the patient zero for hashtag MAGA Martyr. I didn't know that.
That's why he got excommunicated. Because he tried to post the video on Twitter, and then he was like, "Oh, Twitter won't let me, so here's the InfoWars link to it." And now the MAGA martyr has given her lives for us, for society, blah blah blah. Then he went on a rant, right? And then the PogChamp stuff happened. They're like, "Yeah, he's out of here. We're replacing him, blah blah blah. All his deals are over. That guy is done." And then he made a YouTube video on his Cross Counter channel where he doubled down on it and talked about the persecution he's receiving because he's different. Anyways, Ashley Babbitt tried to climb through a window into the Capitol building, and there's a security guard there. Policeman, security guard. I think he was a policeman who was supposed to be like guarding the building, and he was like, "Hey, please stop doing this, or I will have to shoot you." And this man was hesitant. He gave her all the chances in the world to oh, he's serious, whatever. And then he shot her. So because he shot her, this is caught on video. All these people, witnessed it. First off, everyone who was like around her at the time was just kind of like had this attitude of like, "You didn't have to do that, man. You didn't have to do that to her." And it's like, oh. Didn't?
It's like, so what about all those times when y'all be on the other side talking about well, if you just listen to the officer, they'd be alive.
Yeah.
And it's like,
if she wasn't committing a crime, then what are you saying?
It's like I feel like we're getting to a point now where we are starting to pick and choose who should be shot or not.
We've already been there, man. We've been at this point for several years. It's just that some people are catching up. So yeah, people are pissed that this man is not facing any sort of persecution because he shot her, but he was also doing his job at the time. He's one of the few people who was there doing his job at the time until
because there's a difference when a bunch of people are trying to break into a place that they're not supposed to be into, and you tell them, "No, Bam Bam, don't do that," and then they keep doing that. There's a difference between that when they're coming at you as a person who's someone who is unarmed, that they're unarmed, and it's not a bunch of them breaking into a government facility.
Also, some of the people who are around her were armed.
So it's like, come on now. Now, what's weird to me is like, all right, how did none of the armed people get shot? Like that's weird to me, but
because they stayed out of the way. They knew they were like,
that man was serious.
they were smart enough to be like, okay, I'm not gonna go in first. I'm gonna break the window, but someone else is gonna go in first, and then as long as there's no resistance there, we see that our brothers are on the other side as well. Then we charge forward. Otherwise, I'm gonna go back outside.
And then she said, "Don't worry, I'll be cavalier with my life." And that was good night, Irene. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I have no sympathy for that because of the manner of the fucking crime that was like of all of it, the behavior there. I'm gonna march into this government building, I'm gonna break into it, knowing that the security is not going to attack me. Like, that's the boldness of that is insane.
You
Just
know,
insane.
some people just think that they don't have to live a life with consequences, and that's just wild to me. I'll tell you that right now.
What is it? What is it that conservatives and a lot of like right wing people say with this? Was it make stupid choices, win stupid prizes, something like that?
Play
Make
stupid
decisions?
games, win stupid prizes.
That's what it was. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
And something just came hot off the press, and I'm reading it, and I think we should end the podcast right now. Just end this episode right now, because I'm reading this and I'm disgusted.
Mm-hmm.
Fast and Furious 9 director Justin Lin isn't ruling out a potential Jurassic World crossover down the line. We were talking about this as a joke before the podcast. We said, yo, screw it. King Kong versus Godzilla versus the Fast and Furious crew. We said that as a joke. And somehow we have now spoken this into existence, where the director of the latest Fast and Furious movie says that he might want to have Dom and the gang fight Tyrannosaurus Rexes, Raptors, you name it, we got it. Whatever super serum, super soldier dinosaur they want to make for that movie. Oh my God, they're going to bring back Idris Elba. He's going to be part dinosaur, bro. He's going to be called Leviathan. Like this. Look, I'm going to just show, you know what? Actually, I'm going to save the image. And I'm going to put the image on the screen that they used for the article. You guys aren't ready for this. You guys aren't ready. Trust me when I tell you that you guys are not ready to see the image that these people are using to try to promote this potential crossover that the world doesn't need to see.
Look, man, I'm ready. I'm ready for it, man. Look, Justin Lin has not failed me yet when it comes to the Fast and Furious franchise. So if he says we're going to the moon with dinosaurs, take me there, sir. Just take me there.
Just take you there, huh?
Take me there, man. Oh, when someone drives a car into a dinosaur, like, you know, T-Rex comes through and Dom does, you know, a drift into its leg to tip it over. Look, man, I'm ready. I know they'll take care of me. It's not going to be Hobbs and Shaw. It's going to be
look at this image right here.
10.
It's on the screen. It's right above your head. This is what they've done to us, laddie.
All right, hold on. Oh, that I think that image came from the trailer when Vin Diesel was in the trailer for the new Ark game. So they were like, Vin Diesel's about to fight dinosaurs, and this is like a Fast and Furious prequel. And now
I completely forgot that was a game that was announced.
It might be.
Ark, Jurassic World, and the Fast and Furious franchise all in the same. Nah, bro, I'm good, bro.
Hey, man, if it happens, there's one man who could make it great. So,
and who is that?
If
you say Zack Snyder, I'm out of here, bro.
Whoa, no, not Zack Snyder. I mean, the current director of the Fast and Furious franchise. He's carrying us to victory right now in these hard times.
Anyways, this has been the Clout.WAV podcast. And I hope you guys sat back and enjoyed us, shooting the shees and shooting the breeze about good old-fashioned pop culture. But in no way can I continue to be on a podcast that is about to talk about the potential fanfiction.net crossover between dinosaurs and cars. All right, I can't do this. You're putting me in a tough spot.
Well, yeah, that's been the Clout.WAV podcast, ladies and gentlemen. We got to stop now before they announce that Fast and Furious is coming to Georgia, and the dinosaurs are also coming to Georgia, and they're gonna have laser beams. Look, man.
Nah, Mortal Kombat 2 is just going to be the Mortal Kombat people who survived the Mortal Kombat movie coming out next week, which is next week, by the way, versus Dom and the family, bro. That's You don't want to see that. I don't want to see.
And the
I don't want
betrayal.
to. I don't want to see
The
Letty
betrayal in
fighting.
the movie is Dom, or not Dom. Johnny Cage is actually going to be on the Fast and Furious side.
No,
He's
Johnny
going to pull
Cage.
up in his
Johnny
car.
Cage is John Cena, Dom's brother. Oh my! Nah, we're done. We're done. I'm ending it now. Goodbye, everyone. Enjoy your Wednesday night, and we'll see you next week. I've spoken into existence. It's gonna happen now. It's gonna happen. I've ruined it. I've doomed us all.